Hey guys, Deathy here. I'm going to try a bit of a new video format. A lot of people, if you've been watching my streams, you know that I'm scrimming almost every day, scrimming some of the best teams in North America and trying to learn and improve. Obviously, we're not quite at the level that we want to be yet. We've been losing a lot recently and, we're trying to improve and get better so that we stop losing. I want to share some insight into what this process is like, and so I figured I would record myself demo reviewing myself. So we don't have the demo since it's a private lobby, but I do, however, have the VOD. So I'm going to be looking at the VOD and trying to analyze parts of my gameplay, talk about what I did well, what I didn't do well, and what I need to work on. I'm going to do a lot of cuts because there's going to be a lot of moments in the game where maybe there's not a ton to talk about. So let me know what you guys think. Enjoy. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about here, just briefly touch on the draft. So I'm just showing the final draft result. I'm not showing the pick order, etc. So on our side, we have Kelvin, Mo, and Krill. Both heroes are insanely strong right now, so we prioritize them. They were both our first picks. And then we have Lash. Lash is my best hero, and he's also just a very good hero to have, so we tend to have some priority on him. And then we have Seven. This is actually a support Seven, so this is the Echo Shard stun build that I mentioned in my previous video. And then we have Wraith and Shiv. So I would say our team is fairly well-rounded in my opinion. One thing that we are maybe not lacking in, but is pick potential is a little bit low until Mo gets Phantom Strike. So Lash ult can get you picks. So we're very reliant on Lash ult or Mo with Phantom Strike to kind of get fights started. They have Haze, which is a broken character. They have Paradox, which is a very, very good character for picks. Swap gets you kills pretty much at all stages of the game. Inferno is just an all-around solid character. Bebop, another pick character with Hook and the ultimate. Ivy, which is good for split pushing and utility. And Viscous, which is a great counter to Mo and Krill and Seven and things like that. Anyone who gets grabbed by Mo and Krill can get saved by the cube. The cube also dispels Seven stun, etc. So just an overall really good hero. Let's get into the game. Okay, so in the laning stage, we are against Naked on Viscous. So this matchup, I would say, is pretty okay for Lash. Viscous is a very strong laner, so it can be hard, but I think it's solely playable. I think Lash is also quite a strong laner, and I would say that there's not a ton of matches that are unplayable. So I think I'm going to go over most of the laning stage. I'm going to mute the sound on this replay and maybe have some little background music. Unfortunately, I have to mute the sound because this is the VOD. This is not the match ID. And since this is the VOD, it has my voice and me talking the whole time. So I don't think it'll make for a good viewing experience. So I'll have to simply mute it. So I want to talk a little bit about the first wave. As you can see here in the first wave, I'm going to go for a lot of pressure and a lot of heavy melees just to push the wave. And the Viscous is going to do kind of the same thing. This happens a lot in high MMR games where both players just kind of try to shove the wave and then they meet in the middle like this. And here we're trading. And this trade is actually like I ended up winning this trade. And here I tried to go for the parry on the creep because I knew he was going to melee it. Unfortunately, though, I fall a little bit short. But overall, this is how a lot of first waves go in high MMR. We're both pretty much even. I get that deny, which puts me exactly even with him. We're both 300 souls, so pretty much sharing so far. Once again, like the next wave, just going to keep doing the same thing. Make sure you use Flog as often as possible as Lash, right? So I think so far, like looking at my own gameplay, I don't think there's a ton that I could have done better with my own understanding of the game. Of course, I'm sure there are a lot of things that I could have done better, but as far as I understand the game so far, it's good. One thing that kind of sucks here is that I have 491 souls. So if I had 500, I would go back to buy, and it would make me, give me a nice little spike. But unfortunately, I don't. Once again, using Flog off cooldown, going for the melees on these creeps. The reason I go for the melees is just, I don't want to be denied. At the end of the day, the Lash should be able to secure them, but yeah. Important thing to know, as soon as I hit 500, I go buy pretty much. So I get Headshot Booster to try to put the pressure on. And he's already half, so I'm just trying to click on him as much as possible here. Get a lot of damage with Headshot Booster. He already got a lot of damage on me too, but with Flog, I'm able to kind of heal it up. And now I would say I'm in a pretty dominant lane position. So here, this is kind of like my lane to lose, right? Like he has to kind of peek. I have Headshot Booster. He can't really peek me, right? So here, you know, he's not able to peek me. He has to lose 3 creeps, because if he peeks me, he's going to get one shot. I do let him cross to the other side, which may have been a mistake from me. Like, I think maybe I could have postured on the bridge in a way that wouldn't have let him like go across to his shop, because now he's able to buy healing right, and then, you know, stay in the lane. Whereas if I didn't let him cross back, maybe he doesn't buy healing right, maybe it's fine. Focusing on denies here, I probably could have gotten that last denied there, but yeah, it's just one deny, it's not the end of the world. So here I go aggressive. I think that in retrospect, that might have been a little bit of a mistake. I think it works out for me, but I think I was trying to force the issue a little bit too much, especially considering he had healing right and stuff. So here in this situation, I want to talk about this a little bit, because I have 2 options, right? I have the option to speed back to base or buy healing right. So since I judge that I'm in a fairly dominant position in this lane, right? Like, I've gotten a lot of pressure on him, even though the souls are fully even. I actually go for the speed back to base. The reason that I do this is so it saves me 500, which allows me to go for aggressive items, right? So instead of buying healing right, I can buy Hollow Point Ward and Mystic Burst, which are both really, really good items for putting the pressure. And here I actually decide to freeze the wave a little bit, just so the Viscous has to like walk up. I'm not actually 100% sure if freezing the wave here was the correct play. The Viscous does end up missing 2 creeps for it, so maybe it was okay. But so far the lane is still completely even. And at this point, it's just kind of a skill matchup. The one advantage that I have is that I was able to itemize more aggressively since I went back to base. So I think I can be more aggressive, and that's kind of what I'm telling myself right now is, okay, I think I have more aggressive items than him. I can probably do a lot of gun damage. Here, I think he overextended by peeking me, and I see that I have the advantage in this engage. So I actually kind of mess up there. He hits a really nice double jump, and I'm unable to get the ground slam on him. I'm fairly confident that if I got the ground slam, that he was just dead. Once again, there he probably could have died too. But at this point, he's basically like just one-shottable from anything that I throw at him, and I'm already up 400 souls. So here he makes a slight mistake, underestimates the amount of damage that I can do, and I'm able to get the kill. So when he's back here, what I'm thinking is, okay, he's back. I still don't want to let him back into the game. So just because he came back to the lane with full health doesn't mean I just like straight up back up and ignore him. I still want to put the pressure on him. I'm now up over 1,000 on him, and so I just buy items that are going to allow me to pressure him even more. Now that I have Mystic Shot, I kind of missed my shots there, but honestly, if I hit my shots, I think he was dead. I missed my shots after the ground slam. Usually after ground slam, it's pretty much guaranteed, but I kind of fumbled there. I can still do a ton of damage to him, and he pretty much can't peek. Here I do believe that I was told that there was a rotation coming my way, which is why I backed up a little bit. But hard to say without the comms. I still see that he's really low, so I'm gonna like get in there. I kind of miss everything there, otherwise he's dead. So that's just like a mechanical misplay. Like if I just like hit my shots there, he's 100% dead. He shouldn't get to live there. So that was an unfortunate misplay from me. I am going to get his tower for free pretty much here. He has to go back to base. I get to free farm. I'm doing the crouch canceling on the ramp, and I'm going to get his tower. He's sticking around here, which is, you know, I guess makes sense, right? He wants to get that farm. I do think that I should be able to kill him for it, and so I go for it. But here I get really outplayed. So unfortunately, you know, he saw what I was doing. So to explain a little bit what just happened, I went for the heavy melee to punch the cube back so that I would be able to kill him, because I'm like, okay, he's in the cube, but he's right next to his walker, so it's going to be kind of hard. But he canceled the cube and parried me because he saw it coming. So that was kind of a dumb play for me. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, what options there are to do, and like what I can do here, and what I did well and what I didn't do well in this situation, which is, this is kind of post laning stage a little bit, right? So the laning stage isn't completely over, but it's 7 minutes and I've won my lane. However, most of the other lanes, if not all of the other lanes, have lost. Actually, yellow didn't lose, but the other lanes lost pretty hard. So I have an option to get active. For me, getting active is important if you won your lane. So I choose to go blue here, try to put a little pressure on them, but unfortunately they back up. And so I just decide, hey, I'm just going to farm the jungle a little bit. My Wraith gets gone on. Unfortunately, I'm not really able to help her. So I would say that farming the jungle here is fine, but I'm giving up too much on green. Like I'm letting this goo back into the game. I don't think that he should be allowed back into the game, right? So I think that unfortunately by going to other lanes and applying pressure on those lanes, I might actually be helping out the viscous, which I guess is the price to pay if you want to like help win your other lanes. At the same time, I'm telling myself that it's probably worth it if I'm able to win another lane. As you can see, I'm still looking out for ganking opportunities. This time though, I see that they're trying to farm this camp, so I steal it from them. Stealing their jungle is always really good, so I fully believe this was a good play. And here I think I should just go green. I do believe I do. So I think the idea here that I should be doing is I should be looking to, you know, keep the viscous out of the game. At the end of the day, he had a really horrible start. And so like as long as I keep the pressure on him, he shouldn't have been able to recover. Unfortunately, he got that parry onto his walker and I kind of messed up, which allowed him to, you know, recover into the game. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, the post laning. Once again, like at this point, we're down roughly, what is it, 8K? Yeah, we're 35K to 43K. I'm trying to get active here on this bebop. I'm going to get hooked. I'm going to get bombed, going to get paradoxed. I get divine barriered by my teammate. And so, you know, it's fine. Once again, though, the viscous is just like pressuring green this whole time. So I'm trying to make plays happen in other lanes and it's not working. And if I had to guess, it's because these are not lanes in which I should be making plays. And this is a concept that I think I really have to work on. If you look at the top here, you see the net worth of everybody. So the left side of the map, so yellow and green, we're at 7K and 8K, and the right side of the map, all of my teammates are at 5K souls. So the lane on the right side of the map went, you know, fairly poorly, and they're not really strong or in a position to make plays. I guess Mo and Krill can always grab people, but I think generally speaking, we're going to be better off making plays around people that are strong on our team. So in this situation, I think that instead of like roaming blue, I should actually be roaming yellow, unless blue is a free kill. Because yellow, there's more potential, and vice versa. Yellow should be coming towards green in order that we can get a kill. So right now, I actually kind of like our positioning because we've got 4 of us on the left side of the map, which is the side where we're stronger. Unfortunately, we end up losing 1 on the right side, and so I think that's just like a fundamental misunderstanding of the game state. I think on the right side, people should probably be jungling, and on the left side, we should be applying pressure. Although that, you know, remains to be tested. These kind of situations aren't always clear at scrim level right now. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about a little bit as well is what they're doing around the 10-minute mark. So you're about to see it's 9:55 right now. What happens at 10 minutes is the buffs and the urn spawn, right? The urn doesn't drop right away, but it spawns. The buffs do spawn right away. So if you look on the minimap at the bottom right, you'll see right here. So they already had taken 1 buff the moment it spawned. So one of them was camping on top of the right side buff. The left side buff, we can see it's still available, but it gets taken immediately at 10:02. This means that they had the map pressure, they had the map control, and they took both buffs right away. This is actually a really big deal because look at this Ivy now. Like, there's actually no chance that I'm killing this Ivy. This Ivy has 400 extra health as well as health regen, etc. Which this early on is super impactful. So one thing we need to do better is see that 10 minutes is coming up and fight for these buffs. These buffs are worth around the same as like a 3K item usually. So this Ivy is just like unkillable, for example. So I think that's one thing that we need to work on as a team, as well as just me individually. We need to recognize at the 10-minute mark, okay, the buffs are about to spawn, like we need to fight for this shit right now. So here we're looking for a bit of an engage on the side. I think that this is actually really well played by us because of the positioning on the map. So I actually kind of want to rewind a little bit and kind of show you guys why I think this is the right play. So what's happening here is on purple, we see there's 3 people pushing purple. You can see this bottom right here. We've got 2 of us green, and what we see is we're going to be taking a 5 purple 4v3. Well, right now it's 3v3, but our Wraith is going to be coming from spawn. My Kelvin just pressured out the Viscous, so we know that there's maximum 2 people on the side of the map, and we know that right now my Kelvin and I were both pretty strong. So I'm going to join my Kelvin, and I'm going to see like, hey, is there any kill we can get? There's an Ivy there. and we go on the Ivy, and in the meantime we're still taking a good engage on the right side. This is a little bit risky from us, from my Kelvin and I, because technically there's only 2 of us here, but it ends up paying off big time. And I think that this is one thing that we did really well in this instance, and that we need to do more of, which is take engages without having necessarily 6 people, but also while having recognized the opportunity. Like, hey, let's say you have either a numbers advantage or you're stronger than them in a way. As far as itemization, I go Veil Walker here because Veil Walker, honestly, like barriers in general, feel pretty strong right now. Yeah, it just feels really good. Like all the barriers, like combat barrier, Veil Walker just feels like insane on every single hero. It's just so much health so early on. I actually like predicted this like a few weeks ago that we would see a lot more Veil Walker, and the Veil Walker meta is officially upon us, I believe. All right, I want to talk a little bit about here. So I see the Haze and the Ivy pushed up, and therefore I go to gank with my Veil Walker. I see the Ivy really far up, and you know, I'm pretty strong with Veil Walker combat barrier, so I go in, I fight, and we should be able to get this Ivy kill. So I think that this was really well played by us. Like, we had numbers on that side of the map, we recognized that there was an opportunity, and we capitalized on it. So overall, I'm very happy with the way that we played that. Here my Wraith is fighting, and I think ends up being a little bit outskilled by Viscous, which happens. Here I bait the punch, so I go for the punch, but I actually turn around so that he parries, which he did. You couldn't hear it because of sound, but he did parry, and then I can go and finish the kill. Now this is a situation where if you look at the map, and I think that this is something we have to work on as a team, we see that we've got 2v1 yellow right now, so there's a paradox. Other people are missing, but our yellow is pressuring pretty hard. We've got purple lane pushing in. We've got blue lane that's pushing in, and right now we're carrying Urn. So there's a lot of things going on, and I think that we need to try to focus on 1 or 2 objectives. In this situation, I would like to see us either bait the Urn and push the left side, or give up on the left side and everybody go together towards the Urn. However, what ends up happening in this situation is that, as you can see on the map, I'm going to let this play out, but we have a Shiv in green, we have a Kelvin in yellow, and 4 of us are at Urn here. This means that the people yellow and green need to play very passive because they're on the opposite side of the map from the objective. Unfortunately, our Shiv, Loon, is not playing passive and will die here. This does mean that we can secure the Urn, so it's not like the worst death ever, but it was in my opinion, unnecessary death that could have been avoided. So if your team is doing objectives on one side of the map, try to not be aggressive on the other side. It's fine if you are, but you know, be really passive. Our Kelvin also died, so 2 unnecessary deaths in my opinion that could have been entirely avoided, because the play that we were making was, you know, fairly obvious. It's either they contest the Urn or they fight on the left side. So either way, you don't want to give them an easy fight on the left side of the map. You want to make sure that you're playing very safe. So here I want to talk about a bit of another mistake that we're making. It looks obvious in retrospective, but I promise you that while you're in game, these decisions are a lot harder to make. So here we've got my 7 and my Mo pushing purple, as you can see on the minimap right here. And you know, we have yellow being pushed in by multiple people, and we only have 2 people that can defend it. So yellow is going to get pushed by 3. We're going to lose the walker, and now there's 4 people there, and it's a 2v4, while 3 of us are purple. So I think the play of us pushing purple was correct, because there's no way we can respond to them pushing yellow walker in time, but we shouldn't have had anyone try to defend yellow. Our teammates should have been farming safely the jungle, most likely, rather than trying to defend yellow, because there was just no way that it was being defended. As you can see here, we're going to lose our Wraith. Not the end of the world. Our Wraith actually did end up getting a kill, and so it's really not that bad. But once again, these small deaths add up and make it so that you know, we're not able to generate a lead. Right now it's 84k souls to 84k souls, so it's a very even game at 14 minutes. So here I want to talk about another macro state of the game. So if you look at the game right now, you see that all 6 of us on the minimap are on the right side of the map, and we see at least 3 of them show green. This means that we know that anyone fighting here, aka blue, is at a numbers disadvantage. We have everyone and they have 3 green. This means that this walker fight should be really good for us if any of them stay. I go for the lash ult. Unfortunately, I do not end up getting it. I probably could have positioned a little bit better in order to get it, but it didn't work out. Now, the mistake that I think we make is, if you look on the map here, we've got our Shiv going purple. We've got Seven and Kelvin together. We have Wraith and Mo together, but we're all just kind of like spreading out. So let's see how it plays out. So since we were so spread here, they come out of the jungle, or sorry, not out of the jungle, but they come out of kind of nowhere, and I take a ton of damage right at the beginning of the fight because I didn't have any immediate help because we kind of spread out. However, I'm able to go on the Bebop here, able to kill the Bebop, and then I'm going to use this Veil to refresh my Veil Walker in the middle of the fight. And then we're going to try to isolate targets. As you can see, we are a little bit tighter in our spread here. Unfortunately, the Kelvin bubble kind of prevents me from using my slam there, which is fine. I ask him to take him down. He does. And now we're kind of in a weird situation where we are at a numbers advantage, but a lot of us are really hurt. So we need to disengage. And I don't think all of us are going to make it out. Looks like Tankman's dead. Here, I probably shouldn't have gone back in, but I see that this Viscous is very hurt, and I'm able to take him down just barely. But if I was a very safe and smart player, I probably wouldn't have gone back in, but hard to say. At the end of the day, I think the takeaway from that fight is when we're backing up from objectives, we need to be a lot tighter and a lot closer together so that if something unforeseen happens, like they just pop out of nowhere, we can respond with numbers and speed, which right now is one of the things that we struggle with. So I want to talk about one of the most common mistakes that I personally make in the mid game, which is try to look too much for plays when, there's not really a play opportunity. So here I go on this Paradox, I get a ton of damage. However, now we're pretty deep on their side of the map, and there's only 3 of us here. So even though I'm able to get a Lash ult here, it doesn't really matter because there's just way too many of them. And this is actually going to be a terrible play for us because we're going to lose probably 2 to 3 people here and get nothing in return. And if I go back in the footage, I can see that when I initiated that play, that at least 2 to 3 of us weren't ready to fight, meaning like we were too far back. And there was no real reason to initiate that play other than the fact I thought I could kill the Paradox. So overall, I would say that the lesson here is, if you're looking to initiate a fight or a play, I guess I have to make sure that my team is nearby. So anytime I want to go on someone, I should look at the minimap and see, hey, is my team here? And if the answer is no, then unless I can solo kill that person very quickly, I should most likely not take that fight. So I just want to point out kind of the soul difference. Before that fight, we're looking here at 108k to 110k, so completely even game. And then if I fast forward and I go after all the aftermath, we're now down 13k. So one fight caused a 13k soul swing. This is not like unplayable or anything. Being 13k behind at 18 minutes is totally like okay. You can definitely play from this position. And if you get good execution in your fights, it's fine. But that one mistake cost us a 13k soul swing, which is huge. And definitely, like, if that didn't happen, we probably would have been in a much better spot to win the game. So here we're able to see that the Paradox is green. We think that the Paradox might be alone, and we have a Mo and Krill. Therefore, we go for the grab. We kill the Paradox, and that's a great pick. When you have a pick like this, usually you want to try to apply pressure. However, before this pick, we didn't do our due diligence with the lanes, and therefore purple and blue are getting shoved. This means that it's going to be very, very hard for us to get a pick here. As you can see, my 7 is going to go purple while I take over blue. It's just like an optimization play. Since I was closer to blue and he was closer to purple, we decided to kind of swap the lanes we're dealing with. But we're still up 1, and therefore we're on the hunt right now in their jungle, trying to see if we can find anything. And we see the haze in the basement. So the reason this is a good play is because this is a little bit unexpected because where the lanes are, right? The lanes are not pushed, and so they wouldn't expect us in their jungle. The second thing is we're at a numbers advantage since we were able to get a pick on the Paradox early on. This means that this is a good fight for us. However, this is a little bit of an overextension. Once the Ivy flew away, I should have just accepted, hey, Ivy's going to be out. Let me just, not use my ultimate, and it's going to be okay. However, I went for the greedy play, tried to use my ultimate, didn't get anything of it, and now I don't have my ult for 2 minutes. Lash cooldown is very, very long, and your ultimate is, quite strong, so you don't usually want to waste it. So here, after I grabbed the buff, I want to talk about a stupid play that I made, which is I got greedy. Here I'm looking at the map thinking to myself, okay, they're probably blue and purple, but maybe I can get one more wave blue. So what I do here is I show up, I see that they're there, and I still shoot. The moment that I saw they're there, I was still Veil Walker invisible. So I should have just not committed it, not done anything, and it would have been okay. However, I did show, and this is really bad. They're not chasing me, they cursed me, and I do end up escaping. And now, we should absolutely not fight. This map position is actually pretty good for us. We have 2 people yellow that are splitting, and we know that there was at least 3 to 4 heroes around blue. This means that it's going to take them quite some time to move from blue to yellow. It's going to take them at least maybe 25 to 30 seconds. So our yellow people have some time to take a walker, and while they're doing that, we can also make our way over there and assist them in the fight. But we'll see what happens. Right, so here what happens is I re-engage a little bit, and unfortunately this is just like a really stupid decision. Like at the end of the day, there's no reason for us to fight in this situation. I do end up making it out, but we're still fighting. And here, like, this is when we should be calling like a disengage pretty much any second. We shouldn't be committing any further to this fight. However, like every second that goes by, we're still committing. And I don't really have an angle in this fight. I'm very hurt, so it's not ideal. So overall, this is just like a really bad fight for us. And I don't think we should have taken it in the first place. If we played more as a team and waited till we had 6 people before doing anything, I think we would have been fine. But now we're in a situation where, you know, this fight is like sort of working out, but also not really. And, you know, this is kind of like a little bit disastrous. So after this fight, this is the kind of disastrous fight you really don't want to lose, because now we're only down 7k, sure, but it's 22 minutes, and chances are off of this fight, they might be able to get mid-boss. So if they kill 3 to 4 of you, usually it's kind of a free mid-boss, especially at 22 minutes, because your respawn timers are going to be maybe 35-40 seconds. And we have a pretty good feeling that they are doing mid-boss. Therefore, we have our players that are nearby. We've got our Wraith with AoE lift, waiting to try to stun it. We've got our 7 with Sun. However, their positioning is really good. They're all on the high ground, and so they're not really getting lifted by it. And unfortunately, we are unable to secure it. Not only are we unable to secure it, but here the comms are a little bit hectic, and we're calling that, hey, maybe it's a good fight, maybe it's a good fight, but it turns out that it's really not a good fight at all. We're at a very strong disadvantage here, and we should have just like reset, not fought it. So now not only did we lose mid-boss, but we also wiped. So in this situation, this is pretty much worst case scenario. This is going to result in like a minimum of a 15 to 20k souls difference on the map. They're going to be able to farm every lane. They're going to be able to farm the whole jungle. They can basically do whatever they want, and Zac ends up being caught here. Therefore, at this point, I would say that this is when we kind of lost the game. And indeed, there is only 6 more minutes. I don't think I'm going to go over the last minutes, because there, is mostly going to be just like them ending the game and us being a little bit too far behind for us to win, and us getting picked out of base, etc. So I will do like I was one of my own students and give myself main tips to improve on. So I would say that tip number 1 is, if you're winning your lane, and this is for me, tip number 1 for myself, if you're winning your lane, don't go too hard. I was already winning lane pretty hard against Naked. I tried to really get the lead further, and unfortunately I dove under Walker, got parried, and died. That was my first big mistake this game. Tip number 2 I would give myself is, if you are in a winning lane and you're strong, play around other people that can help you make plays. Don't go help your people that are useless. So don't go around the 7 and the Wraith that have 5k net worth when you have 8 to 9k net worth. Try to play around your people that are also strong, that can make plays and create space for your other members so that they can recover. Tip number 3 that I would give myself is, make sure that if you're going to make a play on Lash and initiate something, that your team is behind you and can recover. And what I mean by recover is that they can catch up to you and they can follow up on the play. And lastly, tip number 4 is, don't take useless engagements, especially when it's not looking good on the map. Pay attention to the macro. If the game is even, you don't necessarily need to force an engage. You can force an engage if it looks like a good 6v6 or a numbers advantage, but there's a few situations in this game where we forced an engage that did not look good, particularly when we had certain people on one side of the map doing objectives, for example pushing walkers. We need to be very careful about the engages we take. I think if we fix these mistakes, if I fix these mistakes, we'll be a much better team. And right now, those are the main things holding us back from being better competition for Catgirl Squad. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this format. It's going to be very lightly edited and, you know, just straight up raw thoughts. So let me know if you liked it and if you'd like to see more. This was fairly popular request, so, you know, let me know what you thought. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.